everyone. It's time to eat, drink, and be merry with your hosts, Lisa and Nancy.
Well, welcome everybody on today's show. Nancy and I are super excited. It is Eat, Drink, and Be Merry after all, right? We are super excited to welcome back one of our favorite people on the planet, Linda-Kissam, the food, wine, and shopping diva. She's joining us on the show today to talk about a super unique and soulful cookbook. And it's not about necessarily soul cooking in that. And macaroni cheese, well, there is some really good mashed potatoes, dreamy, creamy mashed potatoes in there. But it's a cookbook that focuses on mindfulness and soul, your actual soul. And in fact, there's such a thing as soul diving. Like, that's pretty darn cool. So it's really mindfulness. It's called What Do You Bring to the Table? A Savory, Sensory, and Inspirational Guide to Living a Yummy, Delicious Life. It's by Shelley-Whizen, and Shelley is a whiz in the kitchen. So she's joining us, too. So we're basically having a party. And Diva Linda, you've been doing this for a while on our shows. I don't remember the last time you came on by yourself. You just keep bringing a party to the show. So welcome back, Linda.
Well, thank you very much. I think it's fun to share the adventures I'm and the opportunities that I receive. And some of them are just more special than the others. So I'm not traveling, of course, as much now. I've turned my attention to wine, which I've done before, of course, on the show. But I don't think I've ever brought any cookbook people on at all. We brought a soulful, spiritual guy from Seattle and that lovely sanctuary, the Earth Sanctuary, which caught my attention last summer. And I think this is sort of the same kind of thing. I must be on a path on this. This must be my journey for a year or so. And I read this book, and it's called What Do You Bring to the Table? And it's one of the new hybrid books that give you a whole lot more than just recipes and so forth. This is a book that says to me, anyway, slow down and really think about what you're cooking, why you're cooking it, and how. And it's a metaphor. Much of the book is just a metaphor for gaining more out of your life. And I the first thing I thought when I read it was like the very first part of the book talks about having joyful, meaningful talks with yourself as you prepare your meals. And so there's some meditations that one takes from this book before you even start prepping your meal. And I thought that was actually quite wonderful because I think sometimes, or all the time, it's mealtime, and especially as a woman or head of the family or whatever, if you've decided to take that role and you're doing the cooking and you're doing the grocery shopping, it's just a task. It's a task to get to do, and you just do it and you don't think about it. It's not mindful. And this book, I think, slows you down a bit and reminds you that you should be joyful in the kitchen. It should be a wonderful experience. You're giving to your family, and isn't that wonderful? It's not just slapping hot dogs on the grill. It's a lot more than that. And the idea of doing a meditation, short, really, really short. And these meditations are not what you're thinking. It's not affirmations. These are more about using your senses to heighten your spirituality before you make food. So anyway, I thought this book was so wonderful. This is the first time I brought a chef, I think, on. I think so, on the air with me. Usually we do winemakers, or we do this, that, or the other, fashion people or whatever.
Chefs on, but it's gone to do with the destinations. You're in like in Albany, Oregon, which, by the way, we're going to this year, by the way, if all goes well.
Ooh,
yeah, I know.
But
I'm
sort of excited.
I think Shelley's
sort of, I think Shelley's sort of the chef of life. I think that she's chef of life. I think, and I'm really hoping that as we go and talk about this book, cookbook, that we will the people will actually go and get it, buy it, listen to it, whatever, and really slow down and enjoy your life just a bit more.
And connect. And listen, it's true. Don't slap your hot dogs anywhere. That's not going to feel good. And I think, I don't know, just saying, I couldn't let that go. Sorry, Diva Linda. I do want to say that Diva Linda has got a wonderful article about the book. Again, it's called What You Bring to the Table, and it is up on blendradioandtv.com. It'll also be in the spring-summer issue of Big Blend Radio and TV magazine. Plus, Shelley is giving a free chapter away as a download, chapter 4, which is called Family and Friends Relationships. So on that, you can go to healthyrelationships.info. But to get the whole book, go to Amazon, of course, all those places. Or go to your independent bookstore and say, can I have it, please? And also go to her website. It's souldivinginstitute.com. But let's welcome Shelley. It is so good to have you on the show. And I just want to say I love the title of your book, What Do You Bring to the Table? Because that's that instant connection about what do you bring to the table of life, not just the culinary table. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. That's what came to me. And the story behind it was just magical. I mean, may I share the little story of how that came to be, how this came to be?
Sure, absolutely.
So a friend of mine who attended one of my workshops, and we just became very close, and I just adore her. She said, Shelley, you've got to write a book, blah, blah, blah. And I said, yeah, I know. I've got several books in me, but I just haven't done it. And she said, if you can come up with a food aspect, if you can bring food into the book, there may be an opportunity for you to get a media launch. You're going to love this, Linda. And so I said, oh, okay. I hung up the phone. This was 9:00 at night. I hung up the phone. 15 minutes later, the entire book got into focus for me. I got the whole thing. Why? Because I love cooking. B, because I do instinct soups. I have an instinct soup collection that I just make up soup, and I go to the vegetable department and I say, okay, which vegetables want to come in my soup? And they'll go, I do, bring me home. And so anyway, I go home and I concoct the soup. I make it in a big pot and I give it away because I'm only one person. And so that was one thing. But the second thing that dawned on me was when I work with people, they're always telling me what he said, what he did, what she did, what they did, and why they're feeling unhappy, right? And so what would I say to them? I would say to them, what is it that you bring? What do you bring into the experience? What do you bring to the table? Do you bring kindness? Do you bring integrity? Do you bring grace? Do you bring uplifting? What do you bring? What are the ingredients you bring? Not what he's bringing or she's bringing or they're doing. Nobody's doing it to you. What is your part in it? And so my whole concept, and I've shared this for many years, I made up a word. We ought to put it in the dictionary. Let's move to put it in the dictionary. It's a great word. It's called finger pointyitis. And it's a disease that people have.
And listen, she's got a gloss at the back of her book with all these cool terms.
Yes, right?
That's funny. That's hysterical.
Okay. It is. So that's when I said 15 minutes later, oh, my God, I've got the whole concept, because it's a combination of having people own their part in their life and not blaming someone else or themselves because they're human. Hello. We are all human.
Yeah.
And we make mistakes, and we say things that hurt.
I want to go to the animal world on that, on your point there. Because, see, dogs will go, I'm going to wag my tail. I have no clue what you're talking about, but I'm wagging my tail. And the cats will just, I'm staring at you. I think I'll blink and go to sleep now because I don't know what you're talking about over there, but you need to calm down.
Yeah.
And they just do that. I'm here, but I'm not really here. And I'm not gonna, unless pushed and prodded to, I'm not going to take in your stuff that you're sending my way. So
I don't want the drama.
Yeah, if it's nice, they wag the tail, they blink their eyes. Right. If not, they just look at you and go to sleep. And they're like, okay,
exactly. Exactly. So that whole concept, I'm telling you, it happened in 15 minutes. Now, that was around 9 o'clock.
You got a download. That's a download.
I did.
That's a spiritual download. No, it's true. We've interviewed so many, spiritualists on the show, and they talk about suddenly you get this download, and you're the receiver, and it's up to you to open the door, and be smart, or like close the door and go, what was that? Yes. I missed it.
I got goosebumps all over me. I felt like I was levitating. I'm not kidding.
Oh, cool.
Okay, listen to this. 9 o'clock the next morning. Ready for this? I get a call from my friend. Honey, you have a date. I go, what do you mean? She goes, you have a date. Melissa's Produce only accepts 12 authors a year, and they love your concept, and they want to give you a media launch. I went, what? I couldn't believe she was talking to me. Again, goosebumps, levitating. Every cell in my body was jumping for joy. I could not believe it. And that was, what was it? It was on 2/2/20. The book was conceived. And 11/11.
Oh, we are going to levitate now.
Yeah. I'm telling you.
That's
it
cool.
Was thrilling. And then I had to write the book, of course.
Well, yeah. But that's really cool. When things come together, then you have to go with the flow. It's like there's always that thing where you may have an idea, but you're banging your head against the wall all the time. And and that means like, okay, it doesn't mean you ignore it or put it, you just put it away for a while, and maybe another time will come through. Sometimes things just converge. This is what's needed now. And I think, when I received your book, the first thing I said to you was like, oh, we need this right now. Our world needs this positivity and ownership of our own selves. And you can't put a political party to that. It's your own party, your own politician. And it's about, honestly, you said integrity. Diva Linda knows we love that word, and way of life is integrity and taking ownership and part of excellence. And Diva Linda, did you connect with Shelley through Melissa's Produce? Because you guys keep putting all these photos on Facebook of all these. We actually, wherever we go in the country as we travel, because we try to do our own food, and that's why we pet sit. So we have a kitchen and dogs and cats and happiness.
I love it.
But like wherever we can, if we see Melissa's Produce, we're like, we're safe. We can do that depending on where you are, because there's food deserts in this country. But Melissa's Produce, you can find, and even if you go to Walmart, I'm not giving anybody a shout out, but Melissa's Produce is there, and you guys are always putting up some cool things. So is that how you met Shelley, Linda?
Yes. So so I'm part of the media group that follows Melissa's, and they follow me, and so 12 times a year I'm invited to review a book, to see a video presentation, which Shelley did. It was beautiful. She did two of her recipes, and that's generally how it is. So we get to meet the author, and we get to see them of cookbooks. We get to see them on a video, and they share their recipes, and sometimes they share their philosophy of life as they're cooking, and it's really quite good. We used to do these in or at Melissa's. We used to actually physically go into Melissa's and do that, and the author would be there and so forth. But we can't do that, so now we do it on video. But yes, so this is, and I know this is I've been doing this years, and I'm pretty sure this is the first one that I felt so strongly about that I wanted to bring, on our show. So that should tell everybody something. I mean, I do these once a month, and I've done them for years. And Melissa's is wonderful, and their PR person is not afraid to give us something out of the ordinary. So we don't always get the same kind of authors or the same kind of food or whatever. It's he's very awesome. He's quite, his name is Robert, and he's just absolutely wonderful. So I'm really pleased with him, and I told him that he could reach beyond Cookbook 101 and give us something that has a little bit more.
That's awesome. I want to go to you, Shelley, on the meditation aspect and the mindfulness aspect and how it connects to food. There's something very interesting about how you connect it with food, and I go to busy men or women, you know, and, you know, people are busy. Food, when you're cooking, oftentimes you're just rushing through or making the same thing, throwing a pizza in, slapping those hot dogs, whatever it is. But there's
slapping the hot dogs.
I know, she's slapping the hot dogs. Yes,
you know, cowboys when you say that.
I know. So there's this time where it's one of those moments, I think, where you can kind of zoom in and, you know, sometimes making a meal, putting music on, pouring the right glass of wine, you know, it can be one of those moving experiences where you change it to that. But I do want to say, going back to just the whole part of food and thinking what it is. I had some friends, it was about 20 years ago, and I had dinner with them, and we were having artichokes. And it was one of the first times I actually had artichokes. So it's a whole other story. That was where I ate the correct part of the artichoke.
Yeah.
And so we were sitting there eating couscous.
She tried to fry an artichoke once.
Don't even talk. That's when we first got to this country. I was like 19. I didn't know what I was doing. But so anyway, we were having this dinner together. We were like 20, 21, and we were doing the artichokes and the artichoke dip. And, you know, artichokes take time to eat the way they are, you know. And we were having couscous, and we were having this whole conversation about being very mindful about the way you eat. Think about, you know, artichoke would really do that because it takes time. And we were talking about the farmers and all of that. There's a rhythm in farming when people are out doing it by hand, and there's a mindfulness that comes from actually producing the food. And I think that's this connection, too, with what you've put in your book is there's a mindfulness to that, including how our meat is raised, the livestock is raised.
Exactly.
If they're raised with mindfulness, we just stayed on a grass-fed beef farm, and they were talking about that. If it's a mass-produced meat, and the way they're slaughtered, right? There's fear in the animal, and then you're actually eating their fear, and the meat is tense. And so I feel like your book is going beyond like what's in our kitchen. It takes us also to how are we harvesting and raising our food. You know,
that's true.
And
that
mindfulness.
Being conscious of the thread of everything, because if you sit right now, if you're looking around your room, wherever you are, each one of you, you're looking at things. You're looking at pictures or whatever it is, a dresser or a shelf, or you're sitting on a chair. Somebody made that up. Somebody in their mind made up that chair or made up that piece or made up that vase or made it up. Somebody thought about it and then manifested it into physical form. Somebody planted the seed. Somebody nurtured the soil. Somebody grew the plants. Somebody picked the plants. Somebody put the picked plant in a plant that distributes them. Put them in a box. Somebody put them in a box. Somebody shaved them off. Somebody cut the things off. Somebody looked at the quality control. Somebody put it in a box. Somebody put it in a truck. Somebody drove the truck. I mean, we just go, oh my God, we're going to the grocery store and we pick out these beautiful produce or cans or whatever it is that we're buying. Somebody somewhere has their consciousness in that item, because energetically we are all from the same energy. I don't know when it was, I had this notion of I really understood what the butterfly effect was, and that is if you can sense your energy so big in the massive universe and really sense it. I mean, it's so vast. How can we possibly sense the end of it? Because there's no end. So it goes beyond our capability of comprehension as a human, but as a spirit, it makes perfect sense. And so time in the spiritual world has no linear backwards, forwards. It only has now in it. I mean, if you can imagine, have you guys ever been to a Broadway show?
Yes.
Okay, you can picture yourself sitting in the theater right now, right? Looking at your favorite Broadway show going, oh, my God. Okay, now, in order to do that on the human plane, you have to think of it. You have to call a travel agent. You have to Uber. You go to the airport. You get in an airplane. You fly. You get in a taxi. You go to the hotel. You check into the hotel, and then you go to the – do you know what I'm saying? There's linear time that happens. In the spiritual world, in the energetic world, there is no time and space. There's only now. So when you're cooking in the kitchen – the reason I created these, and they're called happy mindful moments, because they're geared to just make you feel good, period, pure and simple. It's taking a time out, and I say in a good way, take a time out. Okay, it used to be a bad thing. You got time out. But now it's like you get time out. You get to take a moment. It doesn't take long. It takes a nanosecond. It doesn't take long to be conscious of where we are and bringing something loving and joyful into the experience. That's where what we bring becomes more important than what we get. And I look at the book like a mini. It's not even a mini. It can be turned, which I'm planning on doing a study group around this book.
Oh, I love
because
that.
The concepts are so powerful. It's a course in a book, using food as an analogy for life. And then practicing making, even if I say to myself, these yummy, delicious meals, they're so good. They're just yummy, delicious. And I just want to dare you to say the two words, yummy, delicious, and not feel good.
Yummy, delicious.
When those words come out of your mouth, right?
My grandmother used to, when she taught me how to cook things, we would go to the store, get the vegetables, bring them home, and then she would say, like, here's some potatoes here, put them on the kitchen counter, and she would ask me, which are the boys and which are the girls? So then you'd start looking at each potato and deciding, this is a boy or this is a girl. And so we did this with different vegetables, and then she'd go, why do you think that's a boy? Why do you think that's a girl? And it was about the shape of the, that's just going to sound weird, the head, because it's like if it was a pointed chin, it was a girl, and if it was a square chin, it was a boy. Because I was a kid, so we would look at, and then but then what she did, she made the vegetables human in a way. So that when you're going to eat them, you really felt appreciation for it.
What a brilliant grandma!
And it was gentle. Like she said, don't bruise them, don't throw them around. Gently place them in the drawer. And she used to go buy bruised peaches because she said it made a better peach pie. Where the bruises were, is where she goes, if you cut yourself, the antibodies in the blood rush to make a scab to fix you. So when you get a peach and it's bruised, it makes a better pie because it's sweeter, because where the bruises are, it's sweeter. So she would say, don't cut the bruise out, but don't make any more bruises. It was weird, but her method of cooking was being gentle with the food and taking time, and
beautiful.
You set the plate down. You never slide it like in a diner. You never do that. You set it down with respect. With respect.
Oh my God!
Oh my gosh! So, even
well,
setting
there
the
you
table.
have it right there.
You're not even you're not grabbing your plate and going and sitting in front of the TV and watching all the terrible stuff that's going on in the world. You actually set the plate down, set the table, actually it's an occasion to eat.
Oh my God. How fortunate, how blessed you are to have had that experience. How many people have had that experience? That's very rare. That's a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing that.
I thought she was weird. I'm like, dude, she was only 4'9" and she's British. I'm like, you're weird.
Wow. Wow.
Shelley, well, that ties into your chapter 4, family and friends and relationships. See, this is the other interesting thing. you talk about being, and it's B-E, capital B-E-I-N-G,
Yep.
being your legacy,
Yep.
being throughout the book. But
Yep.
if you go through the
Yep.
chapters, Linda, this is the same thing. Normally when you open a cookbook, Linda, don't you expect, like, here's the chicken and the poultry, here's the entrees. You know what I mean?
Right,
the chapters are not done. Yeah, this is like chapter 3, heart-driven, the joy factor.
Right.
Chapter 5, love. Chapter 4 is relationships, families and friends for life. Tell us about that. And you got you got meatloaf, turkey meatloaf in there. You got your recipe.
Yeah, that is
you got
so
your lessons
good.
first. Yeah, tell us about that.
Yes, so there's a formula to the book. I'll tell you about that. There's a formula to the book. So each chapter has these life lessons around the title that I've named it. And then there I've culminated, like I've called 5 bite-sized reminders to living a yummy, delicious life after each chapter. So you get 5 nuggets of things to remember, so you don't have to go back necessarily. But I mean, I reread this book all the time because it was a download for me to a certain degree. I get to learn more and more and absorb more and more every time I read it. So it's one of those that you get to go back to and pick up something new because there's so much in here. And then each chapter has a happy mindful meditation, and it's a different one. The first thing, the key is breathing. I'm a deaf midwife as well. And so I don't know if you know what a deaf midwife is. I'm an end-of-life trainer as well. And so training people how to sit with people who are dying is a very profound and privileged experience for me.
Wow.
And learning how to live fully through the lens of death and dying is probably one of the most exquisite things I could possibly bring to the table, other than which is infused with love of life and love of living, and allowing that chapter of our life to be as sacred as the living part, instead of looking at there's something wrong with people who are dying. You know, they fought and lost the battle. No, it's the time of their life to see. I have a theory that when the in the universe, spirit expands, energy expands. Those are laws of physics, laws of the universe. And I'm a student of neuroscience and quantum physics, so I take all that into consideration. And so energy expands in the universe. We're constantly expanding. And my sense and my theory is that spirit is the same as energy. So when spirit expands in our body so much so it no longer needs the body breaks down so the spirit can fly free.
Ooh,
and
I love
so
that.
there's nothing wrong in that cycle. We are born with an inhale, and this is my point, and we die with an exhale. And it's all the inhales and exhales we have in between. What do we do? Because they're each and every moment in and of themselves. And we do not know if this moment is our last breath or not. We never know that.
That's true.
And so to me, and studying with shaman in Peru, which is a whole other thing that I didn't even get into, then the shamans say, are you ready to die? And what does that mean? Are you living your life in such totality that if you were to go, you would be ready to go, that you would feel fulfilled and blessed and whole and loved, and knowing that your life mattered? Your life made a difference in this world. And this book is filled with stuff like that. It's like the Cliff Notes version of everything I probably have ever learned in my entire life. But each and every sentence could be a whole chapter.
You know, I wanted to go on the breathing thing as a singer. I interviewed a performer, a very famous Simrit Kaur. She actually wrote her own language because she is Greek but raised in South Carolina. And now she's based in California. But Simrit is really amazing. So she takes these ancient dialects and creates her own language. And it's very meditational, kind of yoga style music. I don't want to say everything. I don't like pinpointing. Like, you can't say your book is a cookbook. It is, but it isn't. You know, it's a little bit of everything.
Exactly.
That's why we're the blend, right? And it's a good thing during COVID that we're the blend. I'm just going to say.
That's right. And and different people said it was their COVID guide. I couldn't believe it. They said, this was my COVID guide.
That's absolutely
it. What?
Yeah, because people do need to calm down, because even if you're at home and more relaxed than going to work, you are still panicking and freaking out about all the different things, like people, so there's so much. But breathing, as a singer, like I had asthma a little bit when I was a baby, leaving LA, very smoggy, year and a half, moved to Kenya, could breathe again within 2 weeks. Allergies went away, all of that. Moved to England, it came back. Moved to South Africa, went away again, came to the States, here it comes.
Yep.
But then when I was doing music and had our band and singing, all the asthma stuff went away. All of that. All of the any allergies, everything went away. And I was also pretty much vegan at the time too. But that doesn't work if you don't eat whole foods. I'm just going to say, don't eat processed crap. It's not good for you. You will get sick. But anyway, I didn't do the breathing thing anymore as I focused my energies on other things. And guess what happened? The asthma came back within a year and full-blown kind of attacks that I'd never had. And so she was on the show, and I was talking to her about this, and I said, I feel like the breathing thing was what it was. And she said, because she's a healer and a shaman, and she was telling me, she says, the one thing we don't remember is 3 breaths. If we each take 3 breaths every hour, just 3 deep breaths, real breaths where you inhale, exhale, so you can recharge all your cells in your body, everything.
Right. That's right.
You can actually heal yourself from disease. And I swear I still can't make myself remember all that. I mean, I need to almost set a timer, like a breathing timer, I feel, just to, because we get so upset, and instead of breathing, we start panting or not just taking those deep breaths. And reading your book was, soon as I was reading that part, I was like, oh my gosh, I need to get back to this. It was like a big reminder, and one of the biggest things I appreciate of your book so far, of what I've read of it. So I'm still in the middle of it. That was a huge thing for me, because I feel like that will help me get back on my path of healing. That we take our breath for granted. I mean, as babies, if you look at babies, their stomachs go up and down. And as we get older and we hear so many no's and don'ts and can'ts, we stop breathing from our whole body, and we start breathing from the chest up. Even in PE, when I was younger, we'd say PE, and they'd go, lift your chest up when you inhale, right? Like chest up. And you're not even letting the breath go down into the belly, which is where it needs to. The diaphragm helps the lungs to expand, and that's where they're located, down there. They're not located in your chest. So we have 3 energy centers. Our survival centers are center 1, 2, and 3. Those are our survival centers. And when we've cut those off and we're breathing from the chest up, we're cutting off our vital survival. We're feeding the survival instincts, and then we're running on stress and adrenaline, because all that energy is constricted. Does that make sense? It doesn't go all the way down. And so we can't be calm. The minute you start to breathe like that, your beta waves slow down into alpha waves. And we're more receptive in alpha waves, and that's where the meditative state is. You could do that in a split second and change your state. You could do it in a split second if we're conscious of doing it. Is it circular? Because if you think about what we were talking about earlier, the thread is circular, right? Energy is circular. So that's what the present moment is, because to jump off the circle, you have to be in the now, right? You can't go jump off a carousel without being there. So energy is circular. Right. Hello, the earth is circular. It's round. You just got to keep reminding everybody about that. Dude, it is not flat. But do you think that that's part of the breathing? And then when you go in the kitchen, there's the stirring, which is circular. There's like, I feel like the circular.
It's all, yes. It's all universal laws of nature, actually.
Okay, I'm going to go.
And when we honor those laws of nature, then we're opening up the centers. You know, doing a shaman's journey of initiation, I learned to open up each and every center. And the shamans believe that when we do go, we're going to go out. Our goal is to go out in cohesive light through the heart, so that's the convergence of all the energy centers. And when you go and you send that white light out into the universe, then you're going out in a cohesive whole. And that's Joe Dispenza. He talks about being in coherence, having your mind and your body, your heart and your mind in coherence. Otherwise, it's like you're in a drumming circle and everybody's drumming to a different beat and nobody's drumming in alignment and in coherence. So when our mind is all chattering and la 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 la, that one did this, blah, 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 and all that, and your heart's trying to keep up, and it's just out of coherence, we're out of alignment, and we don't feel good. We feel stressed out. We start letting the outside world infect us.
That's called a freeway.
Yes.
There you go.
Well, you see, you've got a drum circle versus here it is, all the drummers marching straight up to their people that they're going to attack in a war. Think about old school wars, right, where the two sides would march towards each other and just shoot each other. And the little drummers are out there drumming, the little drummer boys marching with them. So you know it's confrontational, a circle, a circle. I want to go to Diva Linda because I want to say, Diva Linda, are we doing good in regards to this being an Eat, Drink, and Be Merry show?
What the heck?
I wanted to ask you, Diva, you know, the breathing thing was something big for me in her book. Was there something in specific for you that you had like a aha, like, you know, either a memory of something to bring you back to doing that you've done in the past or something new to do?
I think the very first chapter set it out for me. You know, there's quite a bit to read before you get to the first chapter, and Shelley sort of prepares you for what's to come. And but I think that first meditation and understanding that food prep should be a joyful, mindful experience, and just to stop right before you cook. Just a minute. These meditations she gives are so interesting. Smell the tea, you know, smell the orange, you know, look at the photo. I mean, these meditations only take a minute, but they set the tone for integrating your life into a joyful journey rather than, because food prep can 3 times a day can just get old, you know, and it shouldn't. It shouldn't get old. And, you know, here's this path given to you, you know, Shelley's giving you a path and it says, you know, walk this path and see if things can't be better for you. Very, very interesting. And for me, this conversation that we've been having is exactly what I'd hoped. This book is a cookbook, but it's a hybrid cookbook. I'm more interested in how this all ties into a journey, and that's what we've been talking about. And I'm very pleased, very happy. This is exactly what I thought it would be.
Diva's happy. We're all happy.
Soul diving. We're all going soul diving. You see, that's what soul diving is all about.
I like soul diving.
You know, that's cool. When you look at vegetables and fruits and things that you're going to cook with, and you get them all out, and you line them all up, and you have your recipe or it's something that you already know how to cook, if you're in a hurry, then you slap, bang, boom, you know? And, you know, whenever you slap, bang, boom something together, you're not doing your best because you're not taking time
I beg to differ. No, I beg to differ. I just slapped together. Yesterday morning. We're going to use the word slap. I slapped together yesterday morning.
Are we slapping hot dogs again?
A soup. No, it was a whole soup with 30 ingredients.
Wow.
30 ingredients. I made a big pot of it. Why? Where did the impetus come from? I was juicing celery and the pulp of the celery. I said, you know what?
Okay. If you're juicing anything, you're not slapping things together.
No. But
when I say slapping, I'm like you're just grabbing and throwing without
without the mind.
You're not juicing if you're slapping something together.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? You're taking time. Yeah, because if you take time to juice, you're not slapping something together. Slapping something together to me is getting something old out of the refrigerator, slapping it on a plate and sliding the plate down the counter and go, there's your whiskey.
Oh, you're so funny. You're so
remember
funny.
the movie Mess with Cher. Cher gave her son.
It's all perspective because when you said slapping together, I saw myself slapping together my soup. I said, you know what? I'm going to use the pulp. here, I'm going to have an onion. Let's put the onion and saute the onion with the pulp of the celery, and then let's do this in there, and let's do this in there. And literally, I slapped together a soup.
I would call that mix and match, you know.
Okay, mix and match, yeah. That's instinct soup making.
And creating.
No recipe.
And creating.
Yeah.
And creating.
Yeah.
Well, in the instinctive soup, when you talk about instinctive soups, I think that is really cool because it's also, your body does tell you what it needs. You know, when you go and you go to a farmer's market, or, you know, if you have them, depending on what's going on in everyone's place right now, wherever you're going to go shop for your fruits, your vegetables, your meat, dairy, whatever you're going to eat, your body will say, I want this, I want that. And unless it's all the sugars, then we know you got sugar in your system, and your sugar is going, hey, come on, feed me. But if it's not the sugar thing, if it's like, I really want sweet potato, your body is needing a certain kind of mineral. I really believe in your body. We have that communication. And I think also that, you know, back in the day when I think it was Deepak Chopra really kind of got it out there to everybody, that each cell has an individual brain. And, you know, it's like if you have a glass of wine, you've not really killed your brain cells and that they won't come back. You can revive your body and repopulate your cells. And your cells have a brain, which means that we have this bigger connection and communication system within our bodies and what we are probably all tapping into, because it's still so new. Right. But if your bodies are there and going, I want that broccoli, you know that on a cellular level that your body knows you need. I know
my body never says I want broccoli.
You have to juice the broccoli and hide it from Nancy. You have to hide the broccoli.
Conversation.
But if your body knows it, right? So that's that thing. The other thing I want to ask on that was, so there's the instinctive, the intuitive part of your body connecting with the ingredients. How much is it also that we are also connected? Like if you look at, and Nancy, I know you want to do the tree exercise with Shelley. I know that's already going to happen, but
I have a new exercise, Lisa.
But now the thing is, we are related to trees. DNA shows we are related to trees on a very small level. You know, a little percentage of a percentage means that we share the same DNA, which tells me we're probably sharing the DNA of broccoli and all kinds of things. So,
of course we are.
So doesn't that kind of connect where, like on that, I know this sounds weird, but like if you want broccoli, doesn't your system know from like past lives and from DNA that you need that because I already know what broccoli is because he's my distant cousin? Like, I know that sounds weird. I don't even know if that made sense.
Dude, what? What? I love these perspectives. It's so much fun. Even the definition of terms. That's why I put a glossary in the back of the book. Because
really.
Next time, remind me to put slapping together. Remind me to add that one to the glossary.
No, it's not just slapping. It's slapping your hot dogs.
It's slapping your hot dogs.
I know. It's so funny. It's so funny. I love it. This is hysterical.
Do you think it is we're connected?
We are connected. So what you're saying, absolutely. We cannot not be connected. There's no such thing. We just look like we're separate because we have denser bodies. We have our bodies. We have more matter we have more particles than waves right now. Being alive and things that we see that we make are more particles than waves. But if you took everything and expanded it out into the universe, we'd all be waves because you'd stretch it and expand it so much so that we would become more waves than particles. That's why Joe Dispenza's work, who takes us out into space and lets your mind just travel out into the vast unknown, because in the vast unknown is where all the possibilities are. In the known, we have limited possibilities because we base it on what we know, what we've known in the past, and sometimes we bring what we know in the past into the present, and we guarantee the future is going to be the same. So we need to do something to do what we call in the neuro-linguistic programming stuff, hypnosis, is to repattern, do a pattern interrupt so that we stop being body zombies And the body, now listen to this, the body becomes addicted to its own chemicals secreted from the brain depending on the thoughts that the brain is thinking. If the thought of the brain is thinking is stressful and it comes from the first three centers, the fight or flight reptilian brain, then we're going to react on fight or flight and always be on alert for impending danger. But at the same time, we're also wired for love. So we can focus more on the love part than the danger part because we don't have those wild animals lurking around the cave right now. We do in various other ways, but the mind doesn't know the difference between what's a real fear and what's a made-up fear. And we have plenty of made-up fears depending on the past of what's happened in our life that didn't work out so well, so we carry that energy into the present, and we carry that energy into the future. So
and then we get a bigger belly.
Change it.
The more fear, the bigger the
belly. But that's why we cook like we do.
That comes from insulating ourselves against in danger that we perceive danger. So you insulate yourself. Right. But how about the idea of just being more aware of your surroundings, not to be afraid of it, just understand it. Like sometimes.
But just allow it to be without engaging. It's like a big tornado all around us, right? All around us, and we are the eye of the storm. How do we stay the eye of the storm? I taught a 4th grade class called The Energy of Being Human, and it turned out to be an 11-week course. These kids were hungry for this conversation. Hungry. Well, how do you kids in 4th grade, how do you deal with the stress of when you're going to take a test? How do you deal with it? And you know most of these kids are all stressed out when there's a test. How do you deal with it? What do you do with the energy?
Eat pizza.
How do you stay the eye of the storm? And I taught them how to breathe.
That's really it. I mean,
simple thing.
You know, if teachers would just say, well, tomorrow we're going to have a test on this, this, and this. If they just said it this way, if they said, hey, tomorrow you're going to have an opportunity to show me what you know.
Or show yourself what you know.
Yeah.
So
show yourself.
That's
even,
You show yourself what you know. It's not for the teacher's benefit. It's for their benefit to see where they are in their learning curve.
So it's not mean. Doesn't have to be mean.
Yeah, but even if it is mean, there's got to be a way for us to cope with all that. It doesn't matter because that's, again, outside in. And the proof was in the pudding. The following week I came back to this 4th grade class, and this one girl raised her hand. I said, yes, and she said, I just want you to know that I was really stressed out over a test, and I remembered your breathing. And I stopped, and I breathed, and I felt so much better. I said, yay, standing ovation for you.
That's
their little trick.
And that is really the breathing thing. That's how I got through the snow in Madison, Wisconsin, was breathing because I freaked out. Like I had to go, like real shovel. Listen, ice came down, all kinds of crazy stuff happened, and snowstorms we weren't supposed to go through. And I'm from the equator, man. I don't know about this stuff. And California snow is fun and cool. This is not. This is like a whole new world. And I froze my hands. Like I'm still getting the life back to my fingertips because I didn't have the right gloves because I didn't think that. But I had to go out and I looked at it and I'd slide around and I'm like, you will embrace this. You will embrace this, and you will not get sick with asthma. I told myself, you will not.
Exactly.
Nancy was the best mom on the planet. She made me really good hot toddies. And we thought,
I love it.
Okay, have the toddy afterwards. No. Have the toddy first.
Right. That's right, baby.
And you go out,
you got the right idea.
It was breathing and rhythm. And that's what I was going to go back to also with the farmers and people farming and harvesting. There's a rhythm. Yeah. Linda, you've seen that with picking grapes, right? In wine time, wine harvest time?
Yeah.
How everyone's picking the grapes, there becomes a rhythm. Yeah. And that itself is meditational to me. When you're out there, there's the tractors now, I think. But that harvesting time, when you're out there and you're touching the fruits, the vegetables, there is a rhythm. And that's how I got into it. And I didn't get asthma. Not once. I enjoyed it. It became a meditation. The snow came out. I'd go dig it out. I did say a few colorful words. Then Nancy gave me a toddy. Then I said, "Oh boy, I'm going to go out there." But listen, you can't do a snow angel when you're doing pathways because there's yellow snow and snow cones. But
she heated up the neighborhood.
Oh my God, you guys are so funny. I love
it. Does change your attitude on things. But I love this.
Yeah.
Can we talk about your Hershey chocolate cake recipe? It'll be featured with Linda's article. With on Blend Radio,
that is killer. That is the reason
but
why it's killer.
But it's only 35 minutes to bake, and
I know.
like 30 minutes
it's
to
the
make.
It's the simplest cake you'll ever make, really, and you can't kill it. So there's two reasons: killer because it's great, and you can't kill it, which is great. So two reasons for that chocolate cake, and it was passed down by my former husband's mother. And I got to know her 6 months before she died, and it was a beautiful blessing. She said, "Oh, my God, thank God you're the daughter-in-law I always wanted." It was like, okay, and then she died. Yeah. God bless her heart, really. And so it was passed down, and it's a beautiful recipe. And I thought, well, what better recipe could you put in the chapter Love, Love, Love but a chocolate Hershey cake, which has been around for 2,000 years. I mean, if chocolate doesn't say love, I don't know what.
Chocolate's the best. It is the best.
So, yeah, it's a really simple recipe, you'll see. And then you can drizzle the chocolate Hershey syrup on the top or powdered sugar or whatever. I made it in a bundt pan, which I usually used to make it just in a square pan, which is the way she did it years and years ago. But it came out so good and pretty and light and fluffy and delish. So, yeah, you can make it, and you can probably make muffins. You can make cupcakes. You can make anything with this.
Cool.
Whatever it
is.
Those
are the kind of recipes. And Linda, that's something you really stressed in your article, that these are recipes people can actually do, you know.
That's right.
Because sometimes you get a book, and it's like it's a book for one recipe, and you don't know what the hell they're talking about. It's like, it looks good.
Right.
Well, I think, it's easy. It's easy to get to success because you have a nice guide. There's not a ton of ingredients. There's not a ton of things that you have to do. You can enjoy it, and you can see what success looks like through the beautiful photos, and it's not overwhelming. I think isn't that what a lot of this is about? It's just not to overwhelm yourself. Take a bite, a small bite, and just let yourself enjoy and relax, and put yourself in a really mindful, fun. Sometimes your meditations are fun. I think they're fun. I like the tea one especially. And,
me too.
So and I like the recipes because they sort of match whatever you were talking about. You have to think about that, and I did, and I like that. So anyway, it's a great book. I
thank you.
I really I want everybody to read this darn book. It's a great book. It's something that will touch everybody. And if it doesn't touch you, that's okay. Maybe it's not your time, but it will. Keep it around. Open it up. Think about asking vegetables. Is it like to be in your shopping cart? You try it. How hard?
Are you a boy or a girl?
Yes. When you
exactly.
I try to keep it equal. Like if I'm going to get 6 potatoes, I want 3 female and 3 male.
Oh, you're so cute. Oh my God, I love this.
They could be both. They don't have to be either or. They're allowed to be both.
Right.
Like farm stands are the best, because the veggies are just so cool. And so you could look around and you're like, oh, that's a boy, that's a girl. And you don't have to say to people you're doing that because they might take you away. But it's just a different way of shopping. What it does is make you look at it more instead of just grabbing it.
And it's fun.
That's all it is. And it's like sometimes if people aren't looking, you can make them talk to each other.
Oh, yeah. I like this. I like this.
It's really fun.
So in closing, I have a question for each of you, because we're talking about family and friends relationships. That's chapter 4 of the book. And again, the book is called What Do You Bring to the Table? A Savory, Sensory, and Inspirational Guide to Living a Yummy, Delicious Life. Again, by Shelley-Whizen, and that's Whizin. So she's a whiz in the kitchen. And her meditations are short and sweet, so they're a whiz. But you can get it. Go to souldivinginstitute.com, Amazon, all those places. Ask your independent bookstore, even if you need to do it online, your library as well. But she's giving the chapter away as a free download. It's also got a recipe in there. Check out healthyrelationships.info. So in closing, my thing is, especially with COVID, a lot of us haven't been able to see our friends and family. I'm stuck with Nancy, which is a good thing. So we get to see each other, and if we're going to have chocolate cake, we watch chocolate cake, we look at it, and it's like sometimes that chocolate cake I don't know, it's a dangerous thing, but you're going to sit down.
I think we could make it.
Okay, I know. It could happen. So if you could sit down at the kitchen table, there's something about a kitchen table conversation. Like there's just nothing like it. You could have wine, you could have champagne, you could have tea, you could have coffee, water, whatever it is. Okay, so we do want to know what is going to go with this cake, but you've made this cake, and you want to sit down with someone alive, passed on. We're all still here on the planet. Some of us have butterfly wings, some of us don't. So who's going to sit with you at that table for one of those deep conversations that only a really, you have with a really good friend or family member? Who would that be? So let's start with you, Shelley. And what are you pouring? We have to have a pouring pairing moment too.
Well, that's very interesting because this is going to sound very strange to you, but it wasn't.
I don't think anything sounds strange to us now. Sorry,
it wasn't a person. It was actually sitting down with my soul.
Oh, cool.
And the other day, I don't know when it was, but the other day I was looking in the mirror in the morning, and you know how we look, the way we look in the morning, whatever. And I heard my soul say to me in the mirror, I am so happy to be with you. I'm so happy to live in you. I'm so happy that we're doing this together. You're so much fun to be with, and it's really fun human journey. Thank you. I was like, what? And
very cool.
Here's the deal. When we bring to the table a relationship between our human and our soul, then it doesn't matter who is at that table, because we come from the heart, we speak from the soul, and we connect on a soul-to-soul, heart-to-heart, energy-to-energy, human-to-human level. And you could have the janitor, you could have the president, you could have your best friend, because to pick one person, I mean, I could tell you different people for different reasons. My 3 grandchildren, I mean, oh my God, I could go, don't get me started, I could go there and tell you stories that you wouldn't believe, that are just fantastic. So, yeah, I would sit down with them. I would sit down with each of you. Each of you have something so special to contribute, is what I want to say, that I'm genuinely interested in having a great conversation around the table with you, or even on the phone like we are now.
Yeah.
I love that.
I love coffee tables. There's coffee table conversation.
Yes.
It's coffee
talk.
You know what I mean?
Coffee. Let's have coffee. With coffee and we'll talk.
Yeah,
we'll talk
exactly.
And we'll chat and we'll talk about life,
That's exactly it. And you've got, I don't know, there's something about chocolate cake, and then there's like coffee, like a friend's mom used to make this coffee that was just, and it is in South Africa, really, it was strong, but it's like creamy sweet, and I don't really like creamy coffee or creamy tea, but there was something about maybe she put Bailey's in it. I don't know what it was.
Oh, wow.
There's always something in South African coffee.
Yeah, so maybe that's what it was. No wonder I liked it. But it was like you sit and you have this conversation in like a teapot could go, and there's just something. It really doesn't matter what you drink, but I think there's something about, like, I don't know, chocolate cake and a really good coffee to me is just But so what are you drinking though? What are you pouring?
Oh, I could pour. I definitely have a cup of. See, I'm a decaf coffee girl because coffee tightens up my throat, so I don't drink regular coffee unless I'm in Ecuador and I'm drinking the organic coffee there. There's something that happens there. But I like a decaf latte. I love a decaf latte. That's one of my favorites. I do like a mocha, but I don't want as much sugar that they put in the mocha stuff. But I'm not a sugar person in my coffee. I just like a decaf coffee with a nice kind of caramel-looking color. I'm not a dark.
There it is.
Dark
Man,
girl.
she's got it down. Man, she's got her shades of, joy here. So, and that, by the way, that's a part of the joy factor. She's got even the bookmark that comes with the book. It's awesome. Diva Linda.
I have it. I would love to send you all the bookmark, by the way.
If
you give me your addresses, I'll send you the bookmark. I know you do.
I got a bookmark. I
know you do because it came out before I got the book to you, Linda. So I'm going to send you the bookmark, Linda.
Oh, Linda,
and Nancy, you don't have the book either, so I can send you. I know you have it with.
I got the book. I stole it.
And don't worry. We travel in the same car full time, so she's going to have the book. So we're good. Thank you. But Diva Linda, who's at your table?
My mother, actually. She was and we're having Canada's, I don't know if you know, Canada has a beautiful tea company called Murchie's. And so we would have blueberry tea with that chocolate cake because I think that's a perfect pairing for us anyway. And I think, my mother was my soul guider. So anyway, that would be it.
Very cool. Nancy,
for a second I thought you said cannabis.
Cannabis. That too.
Go Diva Linda.
Yeah.
Hey, you can put that in your tea.
Linda. We'll talk later, Linda. We'll talk later.
Yeah. Like, what? Who are you having with coffee talk, Nancy?
I know this is going to sound really weird, but we've been pet sitting, and I'm such an animal freak that I would invite all the dogs and cats. And I would get down on my hands.
No chocolate cake for them, though.
No, we don't have chocolate cake.
They're allergic to they can't eat chocolate.
Well, I know, but we can give them a blonde cake.
Peanut butter.
So, yeah, but I just think it's fun to get down your hands and knees and eat with your dog.
Okay.
I'm
going to take her away.
No, but just so that maybe you get a feeling of when you feed your animals, your dogs and cats, how they feel. Like, do they really like a metal dish? Because we've been pet sitting and we've noticed some of the dogs take their food out of the metal dish and they put it on the ground and then they eat it. So I'm thinking just, trying to figure out what's going down there. So, and I like their company so much that I just want to be one, and I'm going to go find out why they don't like the metal dish. It's a thing.
Oh.
Sorry.
There it is. That's not a sorry.
There it is.
Go hang out with your dogs. That is cool. I think, why not? I dig it. I think there's just something about, I just want to go back, talking about this coffee table. I have a split image of South Africa of a specific friend and friends. That would be the next day as teenagers. We go out and be silly. And then the table the next morning was when we gossiped about what was going on. And we'd all sit around there with tea and sandwiches. And with chocolate cake is good in there, too. Mm-hmm. And we would just all sit there and gossip away and swap boyfriends. So,
Oh, my gosh. You did that, too. You guys did.
Oh. We did.
I'm like, this week he's over there with that one, and then next week they'd swap.
We had honest conversations. They were very honest and straight up. And so that was good. So it goes back to integrity. But everyone, again, Linda's article's up on blendradioandtv.com. You can also keep up with Diva Linda's adventures, whether they're culinary or travel or boating. Go to allingoodtaste.info. Again, the article and recipe for the chocolate cake will also be in the spring-summer issue of Big Blend Radio and TV magazine. You can keep up with us at blendradioandtv.com. Best thing to do is to get our newsletter. That way you'll get each of our magazines as they come out every quarter, and our other specialty publications coming up. So we're going to close with some awesome music. This is Diva Linda's signature song, written and performed and recorded by her son-in-law, Misha Shellhoff, an incredible guitarist. And we're hoping to get him back on a show real soon. So here it is, Diva Linda's Bossa Nova. Thank you, ladies, for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
It was wonderful.
Behave. Don't behave. Here it is.
No.
Bossa Nova.
Be. Whatever you do, be.